Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about the Polyend Tracker and offer my thoughts on it. I was probably one of the first people to get it because I pre-ordered it, and I love it. So that's the teaser. I think it's amazing. I think it can be applicable to a bunch of different genres. It doesn't just have to be, video game music or 8-bit music. It can be, and maybe that's obvious, but I guess I want to bring that up because myself as primarily a songwriter and producing my own music now and producing a few other people, I was a little bit hesitant thinking, oh, do I, is this for me, or am I just, will I get any real use out of this? And the answer is yes, I did. And it's really great. So let me give a quick rundown about just what the tracker is first, if you don't know. So the tracker is mostly a sampler. It's a DAW. I mean, it's a workstation. You can compose complete songs. It's got a master out. It's got 8 tracks, and you load it with samples, and it's a sample mangler. You can do bunch of different, you can play samples in various ways, like loops. It's got a wavetable synth. You can play the samples back with a granular synth. You can, obviously do slicing, so, beat slicing or slicing up a record you like and putting some drums behind it, whatever. So it's great for hip hop. It's great for, I imagine it would be great for rap. It's great for anything. Except for, I guess, folk music with a guitar, obviously. But really cool. So it has an SD card. You throw in the SD card, put whatever samples you want in on it, and then it's organized as per how you organize it on the computer. It's really easy. It's very easy to load samples. Here's all it comes with lots of presets from some really cool artists. That's Ben Jordan. He's a YouTuber, and primarily he's the Flashbulb, an IDM, long-standing IDM project, I guess you'd call it. He's great, by the way. Check him out. But so his sounds are on here. Bunch of great people. Splice, that's me. I put on a bunch of my Splice sounds that I've gotten. It's got a line in, it's got a mic in, so I use the Zoom recorder to record little vocal samples, or guitar. I'll get some guitar into it, and then for the line in, I'll just connect my phone and play things off of Splice again, or just things I've recorded. And you can send MIDI out from it, which is great. I use it to control the digitone and the digitact. So it's just awesome. So let me explain how it works, just really briefly, in a pattern here. So if I go to an empty pattern, this is an empty pattern page. As you can see, when I press play, it goes from top to bottom. So the music is visually, it's running from top to bottom. So that's new, obviously. If you're new to trackers, which I am, but that's new. So within each track, see, I'm on track 2 right now, I've got note, instrument, and then 2 effects. And basically, so for instrument, I'll just turn the dial and go through my samples that are loaded. Each one's loaded onto a different pad. So I could load that one, and for the next, do that. And then I can change the note. And I can put an effect on it. Let's do roll constant. So that'd be so it's repeating. And so yeah, you can throw on 2 effects per sound, and just you can fill in things really quickly. If I wanted to put in some, let's see if I have hi-hats here. Let's see. So like this, just fill in this whole thing. Oops, so I want to select each step. Good. Yeah. Okay, 1 second. I gotta switch this off. Alright. No. So now you've got this hi-hat pattern, and then I can put on like some effects, like let's put on chance, right? Random density at 34%. So it'll be like 34% of these sounds that I'm selecting will happen or not happen. So now it's taking some out. So that's how the tracker works. So, and well, I'll get more into how it works after I talk about some of the things I love about it. So, number one is it's just a new way to make music for most people, and it kind of opens you up to some new processes, and it kind of urges you to take advantage of like sort of generative techniques and randomness. So like, you know, I'll just fill up a whole column, a whole track with like a melody, like say a piano sample I played, and I'll set all the notes to like, I don't know, be in B flat minor, right? And it'll just randomly generate a set of notes, and I'll press play. And if I don't like what I hear, I'll do it again. Or if I hear a piece of it that I like, I will take that and like copy paste it. Or I might, if I'll often like, it'll give a suggestion, and then I'll roll with it. So let me show you, like, let's find a sample. Like that'll do. So what is that? 18 lead. Okay, so I'm going to fill everything with this instrument. All right, and each constant, yep. And then I'm going for note, I'm going to fill each one, and let's do Dorian and random. And now I select the range that I want. So let's go from C5 to C7 or C8. Okay, fill now. So, you know, it'll just suggest ideas to you, and you can real quick make it happen. And so it's really fun that way. So it has useful limitations as well. So the tracker's great for that. There's 8 tracks, so it kind of keeps your arrangements a little tighter, I think, because you run out of space, and you know, you can't, like in Ableton, for example, I might tend to put, I don't know, too many pads. I layer too many pads, or you know, things build up too much, or I just do too much. And so this kind of keeps me in check a bit and kind of makes the arrangement tighter, because you've only got 8 tracks. Now that sounds really limiting, but the important thing to know about the tracker is that each track you can have multiple instruments on. So you're not by no means limited to 8 instruments. You're limited to 8 tracks. So tracks mean something else in the tracker world. They mean sort of, well, for one, they mean choke groups. So like if I have, so where's my hi-hat? So these are hi-hats, right? So if I want to put on a different instrument here, like a bass, so now the bass will be choked out by the hi-hats. So you can hear it on the reverb, but the sound itself, the effect will go on, but the sound itself will be choked. So the tracks are choke groups, but you can put multiple instruments. So often you'll find if you've got like a dense arrangement going, like say this, whatever this is I've got going, maybe it's not that dense, but I'll have multiple. Yeah, this one isn't so bad, but like, I guess none of these are that bad. What is that? Pattern 4. So if I go to pattern 4, you know, if I'm running out of space on here, let's listen to what this is. So say I'm running out of space on one of these, I'm running out of space for like hi-hats. Well, then I can, if I'm running out of space on this track, I can bounce over here and put them here because this is open, right? So you get kind of creative and you fit as much as you can in, and then you're done once you're done. So that's a brilliant limitation. The other big limitation with the tracker is how many samples you can actually load into any given project. So the SD card is, well, you can get whatever SD card you want. I think they don't recommend getting one that's too large, but you can get, you know, you can have tons of samples on the SD card, but once you load them in your project, you're really quite limited. You can't use a 10-minute sample or something. You can't load that. So it's mostly about one-shots. Like if you listen to all of the sounds in my project here. But obviously you can play these samples in different ways, so it ends up not being a very big deal. But my project memory is totally full, and I think most people in most projects, your memory is going to be full. So that's certainly a limitation. One way you can get around that limitation is by, in a sense, get around it is use the MIDI out. So I send MIDI out to like the Digitone or the Digitact and play sounds off of there. And that, you're still taking up a slot of information. So if I put in like MIDI, so like instruments, if you go down here, like if I put in MIDI channel 1, let's MIDI channel 1, come on baby. Let's go to, yeah, so that's the Digitone. So now this note here isn't going to choke this note anymore because, you know, the sound is coming from the Digitone going to my mixer. It's not going through the tracker at all. The tracker's just triggering it, obviously. So that's one way to get around sort of if you're running out of samples, or if you don't want to look for samples, you can send it to your other gear. And it's a ton of fun. This thing is just like meant for that. And I sort of talked about, I think, the generative and randomness elements, the fact that it, you know, you can use it to suggest things to you. You know, it's great. You don't have to, and it depends what kind of musician you are, of course, but, you know, for example, like if I want to create something kind of jazzy, like I play piano, but, you know, I'm not a jazz improviser, so I can pick like a mode though, and have it generate something for me, and then I can go through and edit those notes, and I'll show you an example where I did that recently. Not so much jazzy, but I think it's pretty cool. Where I came up with where I came up with a cool. Don't save. Where I came up with a cool melodic idea based on what the tracker had suggested. So it suggested some notes, and then I said, oh well. And then I heard something after that would go well with it. So I'll show you that here. I think is it this? The bass line here. It cut out right when that's pretty funny. 1 second. So that I believe this last part is a change I made based on what I heard here. Well, and I did that too. Those kind of arpeggios. I think what the tracker did was the initial that chromatic, you know, it's really sick. And so it'll make suggestions, you know, which is a great way to work. And I think that's useful for a lot of people. It keeps you going. You're just like, give me a scale, hit me with it, and let's make some music. Really keeps the flow going. Another thing I love about this baby is the fast navigating UI, and sort of, so for example, like I can navigate with the arrows and then I can scroll. So there's sort of this symbiotic relationship between the scroll wheel and the arrows, which is just this really natural feeling thing. And there's no mouse aiming, right? There's no mouse clicking, and aiming with the mouse, I think personally, is a theory of mine. It takes like a lot of mental strain to you gotta aim, and it's just maybe that's just my brain, but there's none of that mental strain from the mouse with this, because you're just going from square to square, a small thing, and all of these buttons are contextual with what's on the screen below them. If I hold shift, it changes, and I can, you know, mute tracks. So these buttons are always contextual. These buttons always mean the same thing, pretty much. If I hold pattern and hit instrument, then it shows me an instrument view of all 8 tracks instead of the pattern view, which is more limited. And that's the same with the notes. So they're like, it's not quite knob per function, but it's damn close. And I mean, this is just a little thing. It's like a bonus. But for the most part, every button equates to one thing, one or two things. And so that's really nice. And you can really easily navigate. And, you know, it's got the nice display. Like perform mode is great. That's a whole nother thing I love about this, is the live performance is just really cool. I'm gonna do a whole video on that, but so I'm not great with it, but I totally killed the vibe. But anyway, great live performance mode. And so yeah, as sample loader, sample playback, you can sample the radio, you can sample, you can anything, record line in. I forgot if I already said that, but I know I didn't say the radio. But yeah, it's just a fantastic menu, fantastic UI. I really find it really nice. And a side note is, I believe the trackers are a little different now with the versions that are coming out. This guy is one of the first ones because I pre-ordered, and so these buttons are square, and they don't have as much travel, but they feel great. And the new ones I think are a little more round on the edges, kind of to match the outside of it. It looks a little nicer. So if you haven't gotten one yet, I think that'll be nice. But I love this one too. So that's great. The UI, the physical feel of it is fantastic. It's really sturdy. The pads are bright. Wonder why I'm not seeing the pads light up here. That's probably something I can configure, but you can set these pads so they're triggering. They're triggering when their notes are triggered here. Maybe if I go to note mode, yeah. So they're bright, and you can change those brightness. Really great. And they feel good too. So yeah, the next thing I want to talk about is just how great of a value this machine is. It's $600 US, and it's like a full DAW. It's got a radio. You can make, I mean, any genre of music on it, nearly. It's got a master channel, master effects, 8 tracks, just tons of power. It's really mobile, and it's just a fantastic value. I mean, if you compare it to, like, for example, the Digitone, which I absolutely adore, but the Digitone is $800 and does less. And I mean, the Digitakt, same thing, $800. A funny thing to compare it to is, I would say, the OP1, which is even more similar to it, because the OP1 is kind of a DAW. Obviously doesn't have the display that this does, but the OP1 is twice the price. I mean, the OP1, I believe, is $1,200. So if you're thinking you want a portable music solution that's kind of new and fun, this is a great alternative to the OP1. The OP1 is also an amazing machine, obviously, but yeah, this is a great alternative. It's affordable. Just a great buy, I think. So the construction on it is great. I think I talked about that a bit already, but it is definitely sturdy. It's relatively thin. Just beautiful construction. I love the 90s kind of vibe to it. I love the way it looks. It's an inspiring piece of gear to work with, which is one of the most important things about getting gear, right? Is does it inspire you? Is it fun? And do you feel like a kid on Christmas when the FedEx guy comes, right? That's what it's all about. So, well, not all about, but that's a big thing. And this definitely has that. And some of the bonus things I love about it, little silly things that I just love about this thing so much. Say I wanted to save as here. If I want to save something, this auto name feature, look at this. Piquant Pat, Red Stamp, Enthusiastic Yard, Tense Protest, Spiteful Scent, Dramatic Quartz, Cautious Bear. If you keep going, you get some really weird ones. Neighborly Throat, there, case in point. Really fun auto name feature. I think that's just so nice. I don't know. I haven't encountered an auto name feature before, but I think it's just great. You've written something, you've spent all night writing. You finally have something you're proud of. And if you're like me, you probably haven't written lyrics to it yet, and you don't know what the heck to call it. And so this kind of takes out some of that decision fatigue when you get to the naming the file. So that's cool. Other great thing, and it has to do, is this keyboard is just so cool. So it gives you it lights up, all the keys correspond to the pad, and they light up the F and J, and those are lit up here. And so that gives you some orientation, and you can actually type really fast. So, for example, you can actually type really fast. Okay, except for the T. I've lost it on the T. But as you can see, I typed really quickly and accurately there. I think that's great. That's just a really nice little bonus feature. One of the other great things about the tracker is the people at Polyend are really good. They sent me a version of the firmware that wasn't out yet when I was having an issue, that they're yet to be released firmware version corrected. So they just sent that to me, no problem. And they're just really nice about it. And you can tell that this is just made with love, because it's totally different from anything on the market. And it's bold, it's interesting. And yeah, obviously I think Polyend is just a great company for that reason. Downsides to it, not a lot of downsides. I mean, some of the little things, one downside is the effects. There's a bunch of real-time effects, the random roll, reverb delay, you've got volume automation, panning automation, you can modulate your LFOs, your envelopes over time. All of those are real-time effects. But the effects that you actually have to, where the processor has to process it, and, there's a little wait time, which I don't really care about the wait time. But my only complaint is, I don't really like how the chorus sounds as of yet. They replaced the original reverb, the real-time effect reverb, with a really nice stereo reverb. And when they did that, I was like, oh my God, this sounds so good. So they're capable of making really nice effects. I'm just not a fan of this chorus. Like compared to the chorus on the Digitone, I just love the chorus on the Digitone. So, that's one little thing that will probably change anyway in time. And maybe it's just a preference thing too. But these effects certainly work and they're great. The other thing is just, it's just a little buggy with playback sometimes, like effects will drop off very occasionally. So it can be just a little bit buggy, but that's obviously something that will be addressed in all the firmware updates, and they're coming out with regular firmware updates, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. So in summation, I think no matter what kind of writer, musician you are, you can find some use from this, and I say go for it, kid. I say buy it. I think it's just fantastic. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please, give me a like, comment if you noticed if I missed anything, or maybe I misinterpreted something, or otherwise made an error. I would love to be corrected. Yeah, so my name's Evan Thompson, and thanks for stopping by the channel, and I'll see you around. Bye.